Hello everyone, and welcome to the new course in Chat GPT for Genealogy. I'm Coach Carol. I'll be your host, and in this introductory video, I'm going to step you through the content of the course, and I hope that you can be inspired to reach out and use artificial intelligence to help you with your genealogy and ancestral storytelling. First of all, why am I choosing Chat GPT? Well, in fact, it's become my very best friend and my genealogy assistant right here beside me at my desk. I learned all about Chat GPT earlier this year, and I've been working with it solidly for nearly 9 months. I find that I can get my productivity increasing exponentially with the use of Chat GPT assistance. In this course, we're going to focus on how to use Chat GPT to help with your genealogical research and in writing your ancestral stories. The course itself is 5 modules, and it will introduce you to the fundamentals, the techniques, and so on. But let me tell you a little more about what the course modules will include. We'll start with the Chat GPT fundamentals. We really want to look deeper into how Chat GPT became the thing that it is now in the large language model of artificial intelligence. And we'll look into how you can set up your Chat GPT account so that you can have conversations with the model. The conversations, of course, are mostly in text, although it can recognize voice. Next, we're going to look at how Chat GPT fits into the genealogy ecosystem. Now, what does that mean? In fact, what we will do there is really focus in on our niche field of genealogy and look at the ways in which we can get ChatGPT to help us in that field, whether it be prompting it for some information about the historical events that took place in the era our ancestors lived, or whether we want it to construct a brief narrative biography of an ancestor for whom we have a few essential facts. It can do all that and more. Next, we'll look at what are the techniques that we use in ChatGPT and how they will help us to refine how we communicate with ChatGPT and get the responses that we're really looking for. And throughout the course, you'll see how ChatGPT is really an essential genealogy assistant. It will help you use artificial intelligence to drive your research strategies and write your ancestral narratives. Under the heading of ChatGPT Fundamentals, we're going to look deeper into it by looking at what it is, how to understand both the ChatGPT 3 and 4. There is a difference. And what are the uses for ChatGPT in family history? When we're setting up ChatGPT, we really do need to start with the basics, even for those of you who have been delving into it for a little while this year. First step is to get a grip on the basics. We really need to know how ChatGPT operates, what it is and what it is not. Step 2 is how do we create an account? What does that mean? Do we have to spend money? How do we organize our desktop? Step 3, how can we customize our instructions so that we're not repeating ourselves over and over again in our prompts to chat? And step 4, follow the rules to make sure you're using the technology in a respectful way and be mindful of ethics and so on. Setting up ChatGPT can be the very first step into something that will change your genealogy pursuits for the better. Next, we're going to look deeper into how it fits within the genealogy ecosystem, how it will help us investigate our family histories, how it will help us write our stories, and how we can even develop visual representations to help illustrate our stories or even our family tree. How can we use it to find out even more ways to be involved in learning about genealogy or about Chat GPT itself? And finally, how can we help each other? We can have collaboration happening within our community, and how do we develop that? And finally, how do we protect the legacy that we're handing down to our next generations, and how we can pass that on in meaningful ways to our descendants? Within the section on ChatGPT techniques, I will demonstrate how you can craft custom instructions, how you can master the prompts. In fact, we now call it the art of prompting for artificial intelligence. And thirdly, how you can manage and filter the responses that ChatGPT gives you. ChatGPT as a genealogy assistant really does cover all of these bases for you, as we'll find out as we work through the modules in the course. It can give you that historical context and an overview. You can ask direct questions of what events and what changes in our history might have impacted our ancestors. A geographic exploration is one that will suit many of us to find out more about the towns, the villages, the cities, and the countries that our ancestors lived in. What is the industrial infrastructure? What was impacting our ancestors back in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries? What changes were taking place in industry, and how did they impact on our ancestors? Now, what about the social environment? What were the practices for our ancestors back in those villages in the 19th or 20th centuries? What were their beliefs? What were their cultural pursuits? We'll also look at how ChatGPT can help you look at the political landscape that might have impacted your ancestors as well. What was happening in the policies that were being made by the governments of the time, and how did they change the way your ancestors were able to live and work? And finally, the really big one is how it can be your greatest assistant in helping you write those stories about your ancestors. There are a number of different research strategies that artificial intelligence can bring for you. And with ChatGPT, we'll look briefly at how it can help you with ancestral data mining. By that, I mean how you can delve deeper into those records and find out even more about the lives of your ancestors. You can also cross-validate with artificial intelligence. You could use other tools, but even within ChatGPT, you can make sure that the facts are correct. There are a number of plugins that help AI tools look for information on other websites, such as Wikipedia. That will help with cross-validation of facts. And another really big one for me is historical contextualization. How do we set this tone and the scope of the story within the historical context for our ancestors? Using AI-driven research activities there will help us to put all of that in place and help you create or recreate the lives of your ancestors. Artificial intelligence in ancestral narratives, for me, has become a big feature in what I'm doing on a daily basis, mostly. I'm always crafting stories about my ancestors for whom I have copious amounts of research. And I like the way that Chat GPT helps me build those stories. And I can use a snowflake method where I can build that narrative one piece at a time. How do I write those stories? Chat GPT can help me unravel all of those wonderful writing techniques that have been used by writers for centuries. Things like the story arc, or the structure, or the use of flashbacks, or dialogue, for example. If you're a beginner in writing your ancestral stories or in writing in general, using Chat GPT to help you with those writing techniques is a bonus. Ancestral profiles are something that we like to create, even if we're not writing whole stories. ChatGPT can help you there as well. All you need is a bit of a template, some known facts about your ancestor, their name, their birthplace, occupation, what they're known for, what time period, when they died, that sort of thing. Putting that amount of information into a ChatGPT conversation will give you a really useful ancestral profile, something that will get you started in talking about that particular ancestor. Have you ever thought about how you can write up stories about not just the ancestor, the people themselves, but the places they lived, the occasions that they celebrated, or their biography? Historical and geographical backgrounds can be built using the wizardry of ChatGPT. I want to thank you for investing your time so far and enrolling in the course. And in my video tutorials, I hope that you will find other ways in which you can enrich your whole experience in using ChatGPT for genealogy.